She attended a party and later found herself in a plastic box outside the city. Hello, everyone. Today we're diving into a chilling case. If you're new here, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. We'll be discussing the tragic story of Jenna Burley, a case that starts at a seemingly innocent birthday party and ends in a horrific discovery outside of town. Judging a person's intentions based on their appearance or initial conversation can be misleading. Often, those who appear helpful and benign might be the ones who pose the greatest danger, using their demeanor to create a false sense of security. They might offer assistance, only to lead their unsuspecting victims to isolated locations with nefarious intentions, be it robbery, abduction, or worse. This is exactly what happened to Jenna Burley in 2017, a popular blogger and ordinary American student whose disappearance shocked the nation. Initially, her case garnered massive public attention, with thousands joining the search, clinging to hope that she might be found alive. However, the grim reality unfolded when details of her last night emerged. A night meant for celebration turned fatal due to a lethal combination of intoxication, misplaced trust, and a deceptive stranger. Who was Jenna Burley? Born on November 4th, 1994, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Jenna Nicole Burley was the second of 4 children to Edward and Jacqueline Burley. Her parents, who met during their university days in Philadelphia in the late 80s, married in 1991. Their family grew with the birth of Jenna's older sister Janelle in 1992, followed by Jenna, and later their 2 sons, Jeffrey and Jacob. The Burley family was community-oriented. Jacqueline worked at a nursing home, and Edward was involved in patient rehabilitation at a hospital. This case serves as a stark reminder of the dangers that can lurk behind friendly facades and the tragic consequences of misplaced trust. Edward and Jacqueline Burley nurtured their children in a loving and understanding environment, always striving to provide the best for them. Jenna, particularly close to her family, blossomed into an active, positive, and energetic young woman brimming with creativity, charisma, and leadership traits. Jenna was a social butterfly, flourishing in school and taking an early interest in the arts by participating in school theater. Her love for animals was just as profound as her creative pursuits. The Burleys, a middle-class family, resided in a spacious home in the serene neighborhood of Harleysville, Philadelphia, where Jenna quickly became a well-loved figure, often the center of attention at social gatherings. During her high school years, Jenna aspired to be a fashion designer, frequently experimenting with diverse and sometimes extravagant styles. Her wardrobe varied from hippie-inspired outfits to emo looks, often accompanied by bright makeup and variably colored hair, always eager to stand out and inspire her friends to break free from the norm. She was a regular at concerts and festivals, drawing inspiration for her evolving passions. As high school drew to a close, Jenna's aspirations shifted from fashion to filmmaking. She honed her skills at a local film studio, creating short films that showcased her creative flair. During this period, Jenna also became active on social media, where she shared her life, interests, and thoughts on various social issues. Her unique and expressive online presence quickly attracted a substantial following, propelling her into popularity as a blogger with thousands of followers. This platform allowed her to influence and inspire a broader audience, celebrating self-expression and creativity. In 2013, at 18, Jenna Burley, fresh out of high school, began her journey in media arts and filmmaking at a prestigious college in sunny Florida. Despite the new environment, she diligently continued to develop her blog, sharing insights into campus life, her academic pursuits, community activities, and the vibrant social scene, along with the trials she faced, including serious injury and a bout of prolonged depression. On December 20th, 2013, after her first semester, Jenna returned home for Christmas. Unaccustomed to the harsh Philadelphia winter after Florida's warmth, she chose footwear ill-suited for snow, leading to a slip that caused a severe ankle injury. The diagnosis was grim, a double fracture with displacement, requiring surgical intervention and the placement of pins and plates. This accident confined her to a wheelchair for months, during which she underwent daily physiotherapy and painfully relearned to walk. Complicating her recovery, Jenna contracted pneumonia, which extended her convalescence and forced her to take an academic leave, deeply frustrating her. Her blog became her refuge, where she shared journal entries and engaged vigorously with her followers. Jenna's videos became almost a daily feature, discussing various topics and answering questions, her voice ever passionate about animal rights. She criticized the captivity and exploitation of animals in zoos and dolphinariums and highlighted the stark reality of homelessness, particularly in colder states like Pennsylvania, where survival becomes a dire challenge. During this challenging period, Jenna also started crafting handmade jewelry, selling her creations online and donating all proceeds to charity. She continued her advocacy by organizing fundraisers for animal and homeless shelters and encouraging her followers to donate items, emphasizing the value in what many consider disposable. This initiative not only aided those in need, but also allowed Jenna to channel her situation into something profoundly positive. The recovery phase for Jenna was unexpectedly prolonged, with her spending nearly a year at home rather than the few months originally anticipated. During this challenging time, she adopted a dog from a local shelter, a companion she cherished deeply and often featured in her daily blog updates, sharing their adventures together. However, beneath her optimistic exterior, Jenna grappled with deep-seated depression. In the autumn of 2014, Jenna reached a turning point when she publicly acknowledged her struggle with mental health and sought professional help from a psychiatrist. She openly discussed the challenges she faced, the advice from her doctor, and how her family and pets provided invaluable support. Her transparency resonated with many of her followers, significantly increasing her audience as they connected with her honesty and vulnerability. Feeling rejuvenated by early 2015, Jenna, her father, and her younger brother Jacob traveled to sunny California. The trip appeared to be a healing experience, as evident from the cheerful photos and positive updates she shared from the ocean shore, showcasing her close familial ties. Upon returning and fully recovering, Jenna made a pivotal decision to not resume her studies in Florida, but instead transferred to a local college. She enrolled at Montgomery County Community College, located in a suburb of Philadelphia, choosing the comfort and familiarity of her family home over dorm life. Jenna's blogging and video production continued to thrive during this period. After completing her bachelor's degree in humanities in 2017, Jenna pursued further studies at Temple University's School of Film, located just a half-hour drive from her home. Opting to stay at home, she had by then renovated her room and purchased a car, fostering greater independence. Although she was 22, slightly older than most of her peers, Jenna blended seamlessly with her classmates. They bonded over shared interests, attending concerts, and celebrating birthdays together. Temple University, positioned near the city center and surrounded by a plethora of shops, restaurants, and entertainment venues, provided a vibrant backdrop for Jenna's continued educational and social endeavors. This environment not only facilitated her academic pursuits, but also enriched her social life, blending seamlessly with the urban lifestyle she embraced. Life at Temple University was vibrant and nonstop. The campus, bustling with activity, provided students ample opportunities to unwind after classes. Jenna's semester started in late August, but her routine was soon disrupted by a car accident. Thankfully, she was unharmed thanks to her seatbelt, although her car sustained significant damage. Following this incident, Jenna's father or brothers often drove her to school. On the evening of August 30th, 2017, Jenna planned to attend a birthday celebration for her classmate and close friend Davis at a local bar. She was meant to stay overnight at Davis's place afterward, a detail she communicated to her parents to ensure they wouldn't worry. The night unfolded with lively festivities. Jenna, Davis, and their friends hopped from one bar to another, capturing the moments on social media, and gradually more friends joined in to celebrate. As the night progressed, the atmosphere grew livelier, and by midnight, the group found themselves at a packed sports bar. Here, a playful twist occurred. Davis was momentarily kidnapped by friends for a surprise at another location. He coordinated with Jenna about joining him later, asking her to text him upon her arrival at his place. Jenna opted to stay at the bar as her friends began to trickle out. Multiple sober friends offered her rides, and others invited her to stay at their places, yet she declined, intending to stick with her original plan to go to Davis's apartment. However, as the night wore on, a critical misunderstanding unfolded. By around 1 a.m., Jenna realized she was alone. All those who had offered help had left. This mix-up at the bar, where Jenna stayed longer than planned and ended up surrounded by strangers, set the stage for the harrowing events that followed. Unbeknownst to her, this decision would lead to a tragic turn in the night's event. As the bar prepared to close at 2 a.m., Jenna found herself alone and increasingly anxious. She began texting Davis, hoping he could come to pick her up. Unfortunately, Davis had fallen asleep at his home, his phone left in another room, rendering him Jenna attempted to contact other friends, but to no avail. Some were too intoxicated to respond, while others didn't hear their phones. Reluctant to disturb her parents and wary of navigating the city streets alone at night, Jenna felt stranded. The next morning, Davis woke with the assumption that Jenna might have stayed at another friend's place. However, a quick check of his phone revealed missed calls and urgent texts from Jenna, with the last message chilling, "Help me." Attempts to return her calls were futile as her phone was turned off. Davis held on to hope she might arrive at class, but Jenna was conspicuously absent. With growing concern, Davis contacted other friends from the previous night, but none had seen Jenna stay over. One of Jenna's friends, realizing the gravity of the situation, called her parents to inquire if she had come home. Upon learning she hadn't, Edward and Jacqueline Burley were immediately alarmed and rushed to the university to gather information from Jenna's friends, none of whom could pinpoint where she was last seen after the bar. The Burleys wasted no time reporting Jenna missing to the police, emphasizing the urgency with her distress messages. The police initiated a search, starting with the university's academic buildings and dormitories, but found no trace of Jenna. They extended their search to local hospitals with no success. No one matching Jenna's description had been admitted. Friends confirmed the last sighting of Jenna was at the sports bar, still dressed casually in blue jeans, a white t-shirt with a motivational slogan, and a light blue hoodie tied around her waist. The search continued, fueled by the critical nature of her last known communications and the mysterious circumstances following her disappearance. Jenna's distinctive hairstyle, long black hair styled into 2 pigtails, was another characteristic that made her recognizable. As a popular blogger, the news of her disappearance swiftly spread across social media, mobilizing thousands of her followers. They shared posts extensively, calling for any information that could help locate her, emphasizing the urgency and their collective concern. When police investigated the last location Jenna was seen, the bartender easily recalled the girl with braided hair who stayed behind after most patrons had left. She appeared intoxicated, confused, and was persistently texting and calling someone. Her phone's last signal was detected around 2 a.m. in the vicinity of the bar. Reviewing the bar's surveillance footage, detectives observed Jenna sitting alone, sipping a cocktail, and messaging on her phone. Around 1:30 a.m., a man approached her, initiating a conversation and later buying her a drink. The footage captured them conversing for about 20 minutes before exiting the bar together, both visibly inebriated. The bartender, upon seeing the footage, recognized the man as Joshua Hupperders, a regular patron who seemed particularly intent on the solitary Jenna that evening, offering her drinks and persistently inviting her to his place. Joshua, 29, was a former Temple University student who had taken an extended academic leave and frequently mingled with students despite not completing his degree. He resided nearby in a spacious apartment just across the street from the bar, which he shared with his roommate, Jack Miley. When contacted by the authorities, Joshua claimed he was too intoxicated that night to recall any details about the girl from the bar, although he initially agreed to come in for questioning. He soon turned off his phone, prompting the police to visit his apartment directly. Upon their arrival, only Jack was present. He allowed the detectives inside the untidy bachelor pad without hesitation. Jack confirmed that he and Joshua had been at the sports bar the previous night, heavily consuming alcohol. The investigation was beginning to draw tighter around the circumstances of Jenna's disappearance as the police pieced together the events of that fateful night. After Jenna's departure with Joshua, Jack returned home alone, opting for privacy for his roommate. He claimed he went directly to bed, unaware of when Joshua returned or if he was alone. The following day, Joshua exhibited unusual behavior. He busied himself cleaning the kitchen, appeared anxious, and bore fresh injuries. A series of scratches on his face and a deep cut on his hand, which he attributed to a drunken stumble into bushes. Joshua's sudden departure after lunch added to the suspicion. He took several belongings and left without informing Jack of his destination, turning off his phone. Their apartment, which had a second exit leading to a backyard devoid of surveillance, harbored concerning evidence. Police found men's sandals near this door with suspicious brownish stains and a roll of paper towels with possible blood stains in the vicinity. The kitchen smelled strongly of cleaning chemicals, and empty cleaning product bottles littered the floor, suggesting a hurried attempt to erase signs of a struggle. This accumulation of unsettling details shifted the investigation's focus, positioning Joshua as the primary suspect in Jenna's disappearance. Diving deeper into his background, police uncovered that he was a Philadelphia native who had experienced early trauma with the violent death of his father. Joshua's tenure at Temple University extended without graduation, marred by legal troubles, including drug distribution to students, burglary convictions, and multiple assault charges involving coercive attempts towards women. As the search for Jenna intensified, the FBI joined the case. They traced Joshua's last phone activity to Wayne County, roughly 230 miles north of Philadelphia, near a lake, hinting at possible locations to investigate further. The urgency to find Jenna and the need to apprehend Joshua escalated, underlining the critical nature of the unfolding investigation. The hunt for Joshua led investigators to the vicinity where his grandmother resided, speculating he might be seeking refuge there. Indeed, Joshua was found at his maternal grandmother's house. He surrendered without resistance, remaining composed throughout the arrest. He continued to claim amnesia regarding the events of August 31st due to intoxication, and when questioned about his injuries, he reiterated the story about tumbling into bushes, a tale he had previously shared with his roommate Jack. Joshua's abrupt departure was initially excused as a visit to family before the alleged start of classes, but this explanation crumbled when police confronted him with the fact that he was not enrolled in any educational institution. He then ceased cooperating and requested legal representation. Meanwhile, forensic teams at Joshua's Philadelphia apartment discovered traces of blood on the floor, plumbing, and even within the trash can. The origin of the blood was still under investigation, diminishing the hopes of finding Jenna alive as time progressed. During the apartment search, authorities also uncovered bags of illegal substances and approximately $20,000 in cash. The investigation continued at Joshua's residence, specifically targeting the backyard accessed through the second exit. In the trash bins, detectives found a black bag containing clothing, a light blue hoodie, a t-shirt with slogans, a sports bra, and a black hair tie with strands of dark hair, all matching Jenna's last known outfit. Bloodstains on these items further complicated the possibility of Jenna being found unharmed. Adding to the sinister developments, Joshua's stepfather contacted the police with a crucial observation. On August 31st, Joshua had visited his mother's house in Jenkintown, arriving by taxi with a heavy, opaque plastic container, purportedly holding books and personal items. He left the container in the garage and departed the following morning in another taxi, instructing the driver to avoid recording the trip, offering cash instead. Suspicious of the container's unusual weight and the secrecy surrounding it, the stepfather, familiar with Joshua's criminal past, felt compelled to alert the authorities. No incriminating evidence was found at the grandmother's house. However, the stepfather's report redirected the focus of the investigation to the mysterious container in the garage, intensifying the grim outlook of the case. The whereabouts of the ominous plastic container initially confounded the authorities, who suspected it might have been submerged in a nearby lake. Plans to deploy divers were underway, but an unexpected development redirected the investigation. It emerged that the husband of Joshua's grandmother owned a small, secluded shed camouflaged by dense foliage and trees where he stored an old boat and fishing gear unused for many years. On September 3rd, the elderly man ventured to the shed to inspect it, only to discover the lock had been tampered with. Bracing for theft, he entered and found everything intact except for an unfamiliar container ominously placed inside. Upon opening it, he was met with a sight that sent him reeling. The mutilated, lifeless body of a young woman lay within, stark and undeniable. The police were promptly notified, and the harrowing find in the shed was soon linked to Jenna Burley. The emotional toll was devastating as Jenna's parents were brought in to identify her. Her mother collapsed, and her father was nearly overwhelmed by a heart. Their worst fears gruesomely confirmed. Investigators pieced together the tragic events leading to Jenna's demise. Surveillance footage and witness accounts indicated that Joshua Hupperders had further intoxicated the already vulnerable Jenna, enticing her to his apartment under false pretense. Once there, when Jenna tried to escape, she sent desperate messages for help that tragically went unanswered. At his apartment, a violent confrontation ensued. Jenna bravely resisted Joshua's advances, inflicting scratches and a cut on his hand with a kitchen knife. However, Joshua overpowered her, striking her head repeatedly against the floor, rendering her incapacitated. He then brutally assaulted and ultimately strangled. Joshua's meticulous cleanup of the crime scene involved placing Jenna's body in the container he found in storage, attempting to erase any signs of the crime. The autopsy confirmed Jenna died from mechanical asphyxiation, with her body bearing extensive evidence of a brutal assault. Abrasions, bruises, bite marks, and a traumatic brain injury alongside signs of intimate assault, painting a grim picture of her final moment. The forensic evidence solidified the case against Joshua Hupperders. The blood on the shoes and paper towels found in his apartment was matched to Jenna, as were the hair on the hair tie and the blood and semen on her clothing, conclusively tying him to the crime. Despite overwhelming evidence, Joshua refused to accept a plea deal or acknowledge his guilt. Additional searches at his grandmother's house uncovered a backpack filled with his documents, cash, and essentials, suggesting he had been preparing to flee when he was apprehended. The trial commenced in the spring of 2019, nearly a year and a half after Jenna's brutal murder. Joshua's defense team attempted to deflect blame by alleging that Jenna had intruded into his apartment and provoked him. This strategy, however, only fueled public indignation and was met with widespread disdain in the courtroom. After 9 days of intense hearings marked by the damning array of evidence and the emotional testimony of Jenna's family and friends, the jury delivered a unanimous verdict. Joshua Hupperders was convicted on all counts. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole only after serving at least 60 years, effectively ensuring that he would spend the majority of his life behind bars for the heinous acts he committed. This sentence provided a grim closure to a case that had gripped and horrified the community.